Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining today. So on the show, we've got Tamzin Outhwaite and Emma from the Trussell Trust. Today, we're going to be talking about the launch of the new school poetry campaign by the Trussell Trust with the topic of hunger-free future in the UK. Are you able to explain how the poetry competition evolved?
Yes. Shall I do that? So basically, the Trussell Trust received a poem called Acceptable that was by an anonymous mother about how she was judged for using a food bank, possibly for the first time. And what the Trussell Trust did was they were so impressed that they turned it into a 2-minute short film.
Right.
And now today they launch a poetry competition so that any kid from 9 and under can enter a 12-line poem focusing on the future where hunger is non-existent.
So like a bye-bye hunger.
That's exactly it. So that's the name of it, Bye Hunger. And to find out any information, you can go to the trusseltrust.org/poems and they'll tell you all about the competition. And I'm one of the judges.
Well, this leads on to so many of my questions, Tamzin. Thank you. I was going to touch on the poem slightly. One of the lines in it said, "I needed free food because I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough food in my child's tummy," which to me are very raw and real words. Tamzin, as a mother yourself, how does the poem make you feel?
Gosh, it brings up so many emotions because the line that really stuck in my head was, it could happen to anyone. It could happen to anyone. And that's repeated over and over. And it's true. It could be any one of us that this happens to, especially with the last year, the pandemic. And what it made me realize is the Trussell Trust is a temporary solution for lots of people where they might feel shame or they might feel judged for a short amount of time. But then, as the anonymous mother did, you get yourself back on your feet somehow.
Yeah, it bridges that gap for some people.
Yes.
I was about to say, there's been an increase in the last year by 33% of emergency food parcels. To someone listening today here in our local area, how easy is it to find and connect with their local Trussell Trust food bank?
Oh, you can go and find out where your local food banks are by going onto trusseltrust.org. But there are 1,300 of them in the country now. And if you think about it, in before the year 2000, there were none. They didn't exist. So in 21 years, they have become a very needed thing for everyone.
Do you think it's a society norm now?
Well, it's funny because in the last year or so, there have been many times where I've been driving with my kids and we've driven past a food bank and we've seen a line outside, and I've explained the situation. This is a food bank and they help people, and it's become the norm to talk about it with my kids now.
Yes,
it's become the norm in the supermarket to get an extra can of soup or an extra couple of bits and put it in the area
and contribute. Yeah
I think that's become normal. But it's quite scary because, as you say, it's like, is that acceptable? Is it acceptable when we're the 5th richest country in the world?
I know. And how important is the Trussell Trust right now due to the pandemic?
Oh, it's extremely needed. I mean, if you think about, if you can't afford food for your kids, that there's an awful lot of other stuff that comes into that: toiletries, cleaning products, cooking facilities, cooking products.
Basics, isn't it?
Basics, yeah.
What I really loved about when I watched the poem on the website with a link which people can go and watch, they touch on the fact that you're met by a friendly face and the team are really obviously passionate what they're doing and put anybody at ease, because it can't be for some people easy walking in there. But it's nice to know that if anyone's listening today, they're going to be greeted and welcomed, and
absolutely
there is no shame, basically.
No, absolutely. I mean, that really pings out, doesn't it, when you're looking at the film and when you read that poem, that the judgment and shame she must have felt at that time.
Yeah.
But on the upside, she's now not needing the food bank and she's back on her feet. So temporary measure, what a wonderful thing to be able to have.
Perfect message for people as well to know it's there for them. It doesn't have to be forever, and it's there to help. Listeners listening in, if they feel they need to, then they can go on to the website and maybe locate their local nearest food bank. Tamzin, you're one of the celeb judges on the panel. You must be excited to be partnered with this.
Yes, the only thing is, I think that might mean that my 8-year-old can't enter, and I'd quite like that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what are you looking in a poem? What as a judge?
I think it doesn't even need to be a poem. It's like spoken word. It's like, it could be a little story, as long as it's 12 lines. Something that jumps out at where a child has kind of understood what it's about.
Because a child has real innocence, doesn't it?
And they speak truth, children, don't they? So I suppose,
whereas adults, we tend to sometimes
around. Yeah, so it'll be lovely to see what a child thinks about a future that is without hunger.
Yeah, and how they'll delve into that. So you did touch on it a little bit, but I just want to kind of go over it. What does a child within school? So it's a nationwide campaign. It's for all schools in the UK Launched today.
The poem needs to be in by the end of May, so last day of May.
Right.
And 12 lines. Go to trusselltrust.org/poems and you'll find out all the extra information. Age 9 and under.
9 and under. And what does the winning poet or wordsmith, shall we call them, win?
I don't know what they win. I hadn't even thought about it.
Right. Exciting. We get to find out.
I better find that out.
Oh, well, we can find out together.
Is Emma there?
Emma, I'm here.
Hi, Emma.
Hi. So the top 20 will have their pictures and their poems captured in the book, and then the winner will have their character and poem animated.
Well, that's amazing. Oh, well, you've got it, kids listening in, if you're perhaps on the school run or whatever, you've got to get, I was going to say pen to paper, but it's probably laptop, isn't it now? Or smart
device. Pen to paper for me.
It's still pen and paper to me, although I'm using the iPad today. It's a nationwide campaign. I think it's an amazing message for a bye-bye hunger. Fantastic what the Trussell Trust is doing. We've touched on it, and it's more important than ever. You know, unemployment has really increased. I think it said in the brief 138%. I think in the past year. So are you seeing increased footfall Emma?
We've seen a significant increase. So over the last 5 years, we've seen an increase of 128% in the number of food parcels we've been giving out. So it's not just over this last year, which has indeed been more busy and we've been more needed than ever. But this was going on before the pandemic, that families were finding themselves in a situation where they weren't able to afford essentials. And that's because we know from the research we've done that the average household income of somebody coming to a food bank is just £50 a week after housing costs. Wow. So that's to cover utility costs, energy bills, food, toiletries, and school shoes for your kids. It's just not enough.
Yeah, well, they don't stop growing, do they?
No, they really don't. I have 2 boys, and it costs a lot to clothe them for school. And I think what the anonymous mother captures is that thing that compels you to look for help is to ensure that your kids are okay. There's tremendous stress on people's mental health, on their physical health, worrying about how they are going to cover the cost of essentials. And the question posed by the poem is this acceptable? Yeah. A food parcel is only ever going to be a sticking plaster. It's not a solution.
No.
3 days of emergency food doesn't cover that stress of covering the cost of your gas bill or sorting out kids' school shoes. We in the 5th richest country in the world, do we think it's acceptable that our citizens in those large numbers are finding themselves unable to cover the cost of essentials? And I would say it's not.
It's not, no. And so we're putting together a big campaign and awareness with a bye-bye hunger, and we want children to speak up a little bit about it and see where their passion can lie within this. So I think it's a fantastic cause. And so anybody listening in, 2 messages really. If you're feeling like you're in a position where you need to go and locate your local Trussell Trust food bank, they're there, they'll be welcomed. And if you're a child listening in thinking, I'd love my poem animated and I could put words to paper or laptop, basically do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Be amazing.
Okay.
I think we think poetry is a great way of getting people to talk and think differently about this really important issue. So be amazing to have as many people as possible get involved.
Well, there's a fantastic panel, a lineup, and Tamzin, you're one of them. Tamzin and Emma, it's been really great chatting to you today, to have you on my show. So thank you and appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.